Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I saw yesterday. Now, I didn't do a video on it, but now we seemingly do have some context as to what was being said between Joe Biden and Barack Obama at a funeral that did happen yesterday afternoon. You can see Biden told Obama, quote, "She's not as strong as me," potentially referring to Kamala Harris. We would all expect that's who he's talking about. And apparently Obama agreed, quote, "That's true." And the New York Post hired a lip reader because this video was circulating yesterday where they were zoomed in on Biden and Obama and they were talking for about a minute, having a conversation that was not necessarily crazy positive. So it was like people were interested, what's going on here? And you can see it's pretty obvious that Biden does say she's not as strong as me. And then Obama agrees. And at the start of it, Obama says, "No, that's done" as well. And you'll see that, and I'll give you guys some context to it. Now, I'm not going to have the sound on because it's just the background. You won't be able to hear it either way. You can see Obama saying something like, "No, that's done." And then you'll see the next thing Biden says, "She's not as strong as me." Watch Biden. "She's not as strong as me." And then he says, apparently that's true. And that's where it happened right there. "She's not as strong as me." That's true. Although I don't know if that's what he said. This is according to, it does seem like Biden did say she's not as strong as me. And possibly Obama. I mean, liberals have done a very good job of hiding the fact that, at least according to the initial reports, Obama did not want Harris. And it makes perfect sense as to why. Harris had a very bad approval rating for a VP. She was not liked. I mean, there were people within liberal circles back in March saying that Biden needed to replace Harris because Harris was dragging down Biden, the VP dragging down the president. That's how bad she was. And now they've kind of smoothed it over and nobody remembers. But there were rumors that Mark Kelly out of Arizona was Obama's pick. And there is possibly some animosity there, maybe even between Biden and Obama, because remember the dynamic with those two. When Biden, who still is the president, so his endorsement is huge, when he comes out 30 minutes after releasing that letter, when he was forced out, and that whole thing was ugly, we know that, we don't have to rehash it, but when he releases the letter saying, "I am endorsing Kamala," everyone is basically forced to fall in line, unless your party completely just blows up. I mean, you've got your current president who was elected in 2020 endorsing the VP. How are you going to go against that? It's just not going to happen. So really, I think Obama probably wanted Biden to not endorse anyone. And then maybe Obama is the star of the show at the DNC during the open convention, and he's got all the power and his endorsement is very important. And maybe they go with Mark Kelly or someone else. There was also a lot of dialogue back in July. People don't remember this, but people are like, well, why did they go with Kamala Harris? Well, they didn't necessarily go with Kamala. She was just the VP. Unless you want to turn this into a ridiculous charade where the elites of the Democratic Party just handpick whoever they want, you kind of have to follow the process of, okay, if Biden's not the guy, then it has to be Harris because she was elected as VP in 2020 on the Biden-Harris ticket. And if you're not going to go with her, it's kind of just like, okay, now they could try and do the thing where it's like, oh, it's an open convention and we're going to have the delegates choose and the delegates are going to be influenced by the voters and stuff. But that's really, there's no real votes there from actual voters. So this is very interesting stuff to see Biden say she's not as strong as me. I think Biden is pissed off. I think his wife is in his ear all the time saying it should be you. You should be running against Trump. You're the only person to beat Trump. Remember that entire narrative. Obviously, the Democrats, I think they made the correct decision. I know some people are saying, well, maybe they should have just stuck with Biden because at least you have the incumbent advantage. At least with Biden, there's that continuity. With Obama, with Harris, it's a lot more unknown. She's got crazy liberal stances. She's tried to change them, but that was just 5 years ago. She believed that. So it's just like, I think they probably made the right choice even with how bad Harris is because Biden is just such a corpse. They were trying to get Biden, and they were able to get him through the State of the Union. I mean, he wasn't terrible there, but during the debate, obviously, it was a complete blow up. I still believe, and other Republicans don't think this, but I believe they were trying to get Biden through that debate, and the debate went so badly, it was an abort mission. It's not going to happen. We have to move on immediately, and we have to pressure Biden. I think they really wanted to roll with Biden because their secondary option, Kamala Harris, isn't much better, and they're starting to realize it. And now you're seeing reports from Axios saying that there's huge infighting between Biden and Harris, and now you've got Biden talking at this funeral, potentially behind Harris's back, saying she's not as strong as me, and Obama potentially agreeing and saying it's true and she's real bad and she's in serious trouble. So this is all big stuff, and I think they know, and you're going to see so much finger pointing after the Democrats lose this election with Biden, with Biden saying, I told you so, you should have just went with me, with Harris pointing fingers at the DNC, probably pointing fingers at Walz, possibly pointing fingers at the people that maybe pressured her to pick Walz. Maybe we get something from her where she's like, I wanted to choose Shapiro and they forced me to pick Walz. There's going to be some weird dynamics coming out of this when she loses, and their party is not in a good spot right now. How could it be? Their incumbent president was forced to, step down before he could even run for re-election as an incumbent. And they were trying to swing that, everything was fine with Biden, and it clearly was not, considering they forced him out, and they lied about Biden constantly, and Kamala Harris lied, and then they asked Kamala, I've got this itch on my back. It's just so annoying. I don't know what is happening. It's like really hot right now in this room. But they forced Biden out, and they did not want to pick Kamala, but who else are they going to go with? Unless it's a kangaroo thing where it's like, we can just pick whoever we want. The VP is next in line. And so it seems like Obama really doesn't like either Biden or Kamala at this point. He probably hates Kamala more. Jill Biden, because the thing is, whenever you say Jill and Joe, it's like the same thing. Jill, I'm sure, hates Kamala. And Joe, obviously, I'm sure, is not too fond either. But there is that, and you can see this is just more of it. The New York Post hired a professional lip reader to watch Biden and Obama's exchange, and that was during the funeral. She's not as strong, and it does seem like he says she's not as strong, and then Obama agreeing with her there. So that is what it is. We've got more polling, Morning Compost. Yeah. That's a crazy liberal pollster, and it's got Trump. Look at this. I mean, this is a crazy swing, man. So this is a 7-point swing in the span of a month, basically. Yeah, it is. Harris +6 to Trump +1 in Wisconsin. Harris +2 to Trump +1 in North Carolina. Wow, now they're finally swinging them. Harris +2 to Harris +1 in PA. Harris +8 to Harris +2 in Michigan. You've got Georgia, Trump still sitting +1. Nevada, Harris still sitting +4. Arizona, Harris still sitting +1. Not the greatest pollster, obviously very positive polls for Trump. You've got UMass Lowell and YouGov coming out. Harris up 1 in Pennsylvania. McCormick down by 7. That's surprising. And then that's the New Hampshire poll with Harris up by 9 there. I don't think Trump's going to win New Hampshire, but, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. This is really good. Trump comes out against a regime change in Iran. Quote, we can't get totally involved. We can't even run ourselves. That's great. We don't want another Middle East war. And how about the Democrats who are just obsessed with it, with Biden saying, if you're going to try and assassinate Trump, that's, an act of war. We're going to go to war with you, basically, is what he's saying. And then Kamala Harris coming out and saying, who's our number one adversary? She gets asked that question. She says, it's Iran. Well, they're the ones that unfroze all the accounts and allowed Iran to get a bunch of money and a massive stockpile of weapons. So, but honestly, that's not even, the question is, that should be a disqualifier. How do you say our biggest adversary to the United States is Iran? Maybe they're an unstable country that could do crazy things, just like North Korea, but North Korea is not the number one biggest threat. I mean, that is a crazy answer. And then they Brett Baer questioned her on it last night, and she really had a non-answer. I mean, she had a non-answer with pretty much everything last night. Look, she's got an earpiece in. I mean, this was a weird adjustment if you are adjusting an earring. You don't really adjust it. Yeah, you don't push in an earring like that. I mean, come on. I mean, You've got liberals reacting. Brett Baer is refusing to do a second debate with Kamala Harris after getting his ass handed to him. Kamala came to Fox to stack bodies, according to liberals. Kamala Harris is fearless as she answers questions on Fox News by Brett Baer. Prediction, MAGA will attack Fox News for the rest of the week. So this is funny because this analysis is completely wrong. People going into this debate said that Brett Baer was too anti-Trump, he was too soft, and all the MAGA people loved Brett Baer and how he interviewed Trump. And so to see Krasenstein say that, they're going to hate him. No, now they like him. They didn't like him before the debate. Now they like him. It's literally the exact opposite of this prediction and what they're saying. But I think, Kamala could have came out and been completely drunk. I mean, and they still would have said, it's a great, I mean, this is just, it's liberals. They're pandering. It is what it is. But genuinely, and look, people are going to say, well, you're biased, but I think if you ask independents, I mean, it was a train wreck interview. I mean, it was terrible. I don't know. They're saying, well, she bodied Brett Baer, but she didn't answer any of the questions. I mean, I don't understand. So, and again, I think that's an independent opinion. No wonder the betting is going up significantly in terms of Trump's direction. That person last night did not look like a president. That did not look like someone that commands the room at all. It did not look like someone that should be respected. I mean, that's a joke. So, and listen, it was a hostile environment, sure, but she has to do this because she's losing all the polls. This is not what Kamala Harris wanted to do and her campaign wanted to do at all. That's why they didn't accept that debate against Trump on Fox News. Now they're going on Fox News. Why are they doing that now? Well, because their numbers suck, and that's why it seems like Obama's taken over control of the campaign, and now she's out there doing all these events because she's losing so badly. So that's really what's going on, guys. But you've got Biden on tape saying that she's not a strong candidate. She's not as strong as me. They know the writing on the wall. They know she's going to lose. Obama agreeing, saying yes. But really, I mean, what choice did they have? Biden, after that debate, was so maybe if they rallied around Biden still. I mean, but it was I mean, there's no way Biden could do another debate. Or maybe he probably would have been forced to do another debate to try and redeem himself. Because technically, if you want to really get down to it, the second half of that debate, he was a bit better than the first half. But it was such a train wreck. It's like, what do you know, they obviously ended up pressuring him out. And there was still a small contingent of Biden supporters that didn't want him out, saying that, oh, he's the only one to beat Trump. But I mean, I think they had to make a change. But the problem is the change that they made is with Kamala, and it's very clear she's just simply not a good politician. And they picked her as VP because of DEI, because they wanted a minority female, which is what it is what it is. I mean, that's why they picked her. It's not like she's this amazing candidate. And then on top of that, to make matters worse, it's like insult to injury. They go with Tim Walz as the new VP for Kamala, which was another horrible pick. So it's like, it's bad on top of bad on top of bad on top of bad. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.